Oh man, I remember I worked at this place, and there a salesman started there, and he looked kind of like maybe back in the day he was in like an '80s metal band, and he was actually in an unsuccessful
Okay.
'80s hair metal band called Hans Naughty, and he brought in records, he brought in CDs, and showed everyone at work, and I was like, dang, and I'm like, I really only like Christian music. He's like, oh, you've heard of Stryper? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, I used to do cocaine with those guys, and I was like,
Yep.
oh, oh, okay. I don't think so. They're Christians. He's like, I'm pretty sure we did cocaine together, and I was like,
All right, got a funeral foam macchiato for Charles. This one's just hot and sad. One graveyard grind drip for Gosh, Josh, or both. Somebody come get this.
you're in a different place.
Yeah. So my friend Hugh, I don't know if you have somebody who your family has adopted as an adult that comes and visits, but we have. And I've known Hugh for feels like forever. And three times a year he comes. He lives in Rhode Island. And one is now for the Renaissance Festival because the first time he ever traveled to come see us was a meet and greet that we did for a show that he was listening to. And he had another friend here in Georgia. So we all met up at the Renaissance Festival because my partner at the time, and he still performs there, but he was a performer there. So had his day job, so it was easy for us to just say, "Hey, everybody, come to his day job and meet us for a little bit." And then he comes to Dragon Con now, and now he goes to Halloween, just whatever. So he's as he was saying yesterday, he's the bald autistic uncle we never wanted. But he's sleeping in the studio right now.
God, that was my next question. I was like, so he's sleeping in the studio. That's why you're
Yeah.
there.
Well, I mean, I kind of figured you think like I think, so you inferred 5 steps ahead with your little baby Groku cup of coffee.
Hey, it's a Edgar Allan Poe mug, dude. Come on.
Edgar Allan Poe.
So you know why I love this coffee mug? Because
What is
this
that?
is the only mug we own, and I don't know if you own one of these, where you can microwave it and it won't get hot. Like the mug
Oh,
doesn't get
okay.
like freaking hot. It's awesome. Like you know how mugs like you touch the handle and you're like, oh my God, like that one doesn't do it. And I don't know why I don't know if it's the way it's painted or the material, but it's awesome. I love it. But
That's
now I
pretty
don't
cool.
even need to microwave my mug because
I was about to ask.
I have a milk frother now, so I don't have to do that. So that sounds
Mm.
really bougie, but it's just the truth.
This week is spelled Bujjjjeee.
Boujee. That's how you spell
Nope.
bougie.
Every
Yeah.
week we're going to change it. That's the way it works.
Well, if you're doing it right, I mean, so okay, B O
I mean,
G.
it is slang. Can you gatekeep slang and how it's spelled?
You can gatekeep anything if you try hard enough. Like that's just the truth. You know, we could not. I thought this was gonna start today on a bad note. We could not find our cat.
Is that really a bad note?
Well,
I don't like cats. I'm just
for
saying.
our family, well, but if you okay, let's say it was your friend who was sleeping over that you couldn't find the next day. Then you'd be like, what the fuck? I can't find my
Sure.
friend. So
Man,
this is the
okay.
same thing.
All right.
But he was so in our studio, there's a window that's blacked out with a moving blanket, okay? And it's like a bay window. And then there's a table in front of it. He got behind the table and is sleeping on top of the moving blanket, like in this little just crevice, just chilling, just listen to us all yell for him.
Gotcha.
He's a dick. Cats are dicks, but especially if you have a dude cat.
Oh, I totally forgot about this thing, man. Macs now have this ring light built into the screen, like it's a digital thing that they light up pixels in the shape of
Yeah.
a ring light.
And I
And now
hate
I
to
look
tell
better.
you, it's not really. It's all on your glasses, bro.
What? I don't see it. Where's the setting?
As soon as you did it, it was like, boo! I was like,
Yeah.
what the hell is he looking at on his screen? It just changed all of a sudden. I
So,
never noticed anything in your glasses until that moment. I was like, what the
yeah.
heck?
Well, normally there's not. I normally have it set up, and I was crossing my fingers that it'd be nice this weekend. I could just sit outside at the picnic table like I've done, or in one of the chairs at the fire pit. And
Raining,
nope,
right?
it is raining.
Yeah, dude, it's
Yeah,
been raining here every day, like just on and off all day. It's crazy. And when we go
it
to
just
Cleveland next week,
yeah,
it's going to be actually nice weather.
nice.
Which
We're
is
supposed to
crazy.
go. Well, we are going to brew at the zoo tonight, and that's going to be interesting because you have canopy. The tree canopies cover a lot of the zoo walkways, which makes one of the things that makes Atlanta Zoo nice is there's a lot of shade. Except those things drip water constantly, even if it stops raining. So it's going
How
to
is
be.
your zoo there in Atlanta?
I mean, for a prison for animals, it's pretty all right.
Oh, damn, you're one of those. Okay. Um,
No,
Anyway, I
I,
was just gonna ask, like you said, brew at the zoo, and it made me think of all the events we have here at the Memphis Zoo, and they all suck ass.
oh
Like there are
no, it's just
these.
good. Yeah,
Okay, cool. That's good. Good for you.
yeah,
Good for you,
yeah.
man.
I
Those
mean,
suck.
so I, I'm not like a flag waving animal rights kind of person, but and I think that Atlanta Zoo does do a pretty good job of taking care of its animals, rescuing animals, and treating them fairly right because you can see it in how the animals react. You know,
Yeah.
they're not. But I've definitely been even to the Atlanta Zoo in the past and to other zoos where you just see the life drained out of their eyes, and it's like, I didn't. That's why I want to go on safari. I want to see them live and be happy, type of deal. But yeah, it's actually a decent zoo. In this event, at least, it's pretty cool. We have a lot of brewers in and around Atlanta, so they bring in some local people as well, and they do a special somebody, usually Sweetwater, because I don't know if Sweetwater is based out of Atlanta originally, but
Okay.
they are headquarters. I mean, they're a big part of Atlanta now. So they usually make a special brew just for that zoo night. Because I mean, zoos are all well, I don't know about every zoo, but at least this zoo is a charity, so
So
these
you're
are
saying
all charity
Sweetwater,
events.
and I'm thinking the
You're
place
thinking
where you buy.
Cutwater? Oh,
I'm thinking of Sweetwater where you buy musical gear from. You're thinking of
oh,
Sweetwater, the brewery.
yeah, it's the brewery. Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, we have that too. We have Sweetwater music as well, but they don't break a beer for the zoo.
I caught on halfway through. I'm like, why is that place making beer?
Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Hopefully, it'll stop raining soon, and then maybe it'll stop drip drying, and it'll be more pleasant. But yeah, not outside today. I'm in
No, and
the
it's
kitchen where
also
you can
very
see all my
humid.
mugs.
Let me
Um,
see.
well, I mean, so I have them because I have so many. I don't and
Ah,
kind of so these are more decorative, like people bought them for fun.
yeah.
And those are more useful. And then there's my Keurig still down there. And what
Oh
else is
my
there?
gosh, this is
Oh, dog treats
embarrassing.
in the
I want
kettle.
to say I want apologies to our audience right now that we're showing this kind of pornography on our episode here. You should have
Oh,
seen that.
I do have a little bone to pick. I
Oh,
got a
what's going
kiddo
on?
here. She wants to know why your
Hey,
kid. She wants to know why your kid swiped right and grinder, but goes to them.
wait, say that again.
She wants to
Say it
know why
again.
Cooper. She wants to know why Cooper swiped right on grinder and then ghosted her. That's why
Who's
she.
Cooper? Who's Cooper?
Both your kids are Cooper.
I was gonna say,
Calvin.
no, you just don't know my kids' names.
Calvin. I meant to say Calvin. Damn it.
Calvin doesn't have grinders. What are you talking
Sure.
about?
Sure. Look, you got to raise your kids better than that, sir. No ghosting allowed.
Ghosted him.
You go back to you're not part of this. You go back to your show. You're the joke. You're not in it.
Maybe she would make a better host for this podcast because she doesn't drink Keurig coffee.
Okay, I'm not drinking out of the Keurig. Don't be rude.
That's what we should do, man. We should like roast instead of like roast each other like what you're actually drinking. Dude's over there drinking McDonald's, bro. He's like, give me 2 creams and 2 sugars.
Yeah.
Dude, it zoomed
good.
in on you when you
Why? Why is it zoomed in? I don't know.
Because it's like this is a good moment. Let me zoom in on this.
I don't know why the Mac. I don't know how to turn it off either. I don't know why it follows and
That's
stuff.
what she said. Hey!
Is that a bad thing? I mean,
No. I don't know how to turn it off either. That's what she said.
Okay. So I did text you this week. And it's because it still amazes me that how much different it is the way you make coffee and the coffee you use and how much that changes things. Because the
Oh
other
yeah.
day I was just tired and I was like, you know what? I am just gonna put I have the little filter, but I'm just gonna put some Starbucks in a little filter, put it in a Keurig, and just take it.
Oh,
And I took a sip of it and I was like, oh my God, I could
it's different.
taste
Yeah, I mean, no
how
kidding,
different this is. Yeah. And I mean, it's so blatant.
dude.
And
It's
it's
like
not
if you were
horrible.
buying your drugs from Heisenberg, and then all of a sudden you were like, "Let me go get this
Let
from
me go
like Tuco.
snuffleupagus.
Like, let me go get it from like Tuco's old stash." You know, like, come on, don't do it. Don't do it.
Speaking of trying to be a nerd, yo, we're driving me crazy. I mean, okay, let me reset. I never expected to be the kind of nerd that's like, you got to understand, you got to connect the dots, and I'm listening to, and because of the different shows I've done, I ended up watching all of the Marvel stuff as it came out um, during those times. So I've watched all the Daredevil stuff and Jessica Jones and more or less I kept up with it, not because I was a huge fan, but because like, well, sometimes they connect things. And like you get the Spider-Man, was it Long Way from Home or
Talking about the new one.
Homecoming, not the newest one, but the one right before where Matt Murdock
Oh,
shows
No Way
up
Home.
for No Way Home. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you get, okay, cool. There's maybe a lot of fans who don't understand who that is, and that's all right because they explain it. But I got to go, oh, Matt Murdock, that's really cool, you know. And it's the actual Netflix actor and all this other stuff. And so I just figured I'm just that guy. I was like, yeah, okay, I can understand. Until I heard you guys talking about Daredevil, and you're like, well, I'm not sure about this. You even did your summaries, like, I think you did your summary of, Wilson Fisk. I don't know how I'm with my wife. I'm like, there's like 3 whole seasons of how he got to her and won her over. And but you said it's been a while since you saw Daredevil.
Yeah. So we just finished the first season of the Netflix, and you realize really quickly that she's a moron.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
she's an
yeah,
absolute idiot, and that's how she's with him. Like she's just as screwed up as him. Like that's why. But
yeah.
also, it's like you say that, but at the same time, you've had how many seasons to get rid of this dude? I mean, like
Oh yeah.
at the end of that first season of Netflix, he's in jail, she's gone. Like,
Hmm.
just end it there. Like, get into his accounts while he's gone that Leland was controlling, and just take his money.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
mean,
but then I think, like you said, she's just as broken. But I think you're gonna enjoy. I hope at least. I like when I can see the connective tissue, right? I can see the connections
yes,
being made. So,
I
because
really do as well. Yeah.
see, okay. So, what do you think about? And I'll tell you some backstory behind it later. But what do you think about that bloat of every one of these shows? Daredevil, Punisher. I love the Punisher so much, but even the Punisher, all of them, right in the middle. There's at least one episode, if not two, of just nothingness.
Yeah. Well, you know what I felt in the Netflix one? So I felt in the Born Again season one Daredevil, I felt that hard on 2 episodes. Like
Yeah.
it was like the episodes were worthless. In the Netflix series, there were certain moments in the episodes that were bloated and too much and just too
Yeah.
long. And I'm not a fan of that. But back to what you were saying about these connecting, I think Marvel was really good at that for a while. Like when like the
Hmm.
Avengers, that whole MCU started with the Avengers, and then they've
Yeah.
gotten away from it big time. And I'm not a fan like of not connecting it or having these after credit scenes where they just never connect or you never see it.
Yeah.
Um, Daredevil, I really liked that first season of the Netflix one, and I didn't remember it that well until we watched it again, and then everything started to click again. I was like,
Sure.
okay.
Yeah.
But that last episode of that first season does not land the plane for me. It gets
Yeah.
like if they would have ended that first season at spoiler alert, Ben's death. That scene
Hmm.
of Ben's death, end it there, maybe with the funeral, and like then you go on to the second season. But that episode of him fighting Fisk and getting the suit, I was like, oh, you just
Yeah.
it was a little cheesy.
Yeah.
There's one pose if you watch it again where it was a bad edit because he's like turning toward the camera like with his new suit and you're like, oh dude, what the fuck? What was
So
that?
I cannot speak to some of the bad. There's some cheesy lines.
Yeah.
When you watch it the first time and you're watching it more or less week by week. I can't remember if they dropped it all at once. I think they did. And you could binge it, but ultimately, I was watching it pieces. And it's all new, and you're just processing the information. You don't realize how slow some of the moments are and how bad some of the writing is, and so until you go back and binge watch it. So I've watched it twice because as Born Again season 1 was coming out, my wife and I were like, hey, she didn't watch all of it. Like I watched all of it. She watched pieces. So let's go watch it all again. Cause she likes to know, she's been with me long enough that she's just used to, okay, now I just kind of want to see what the connections are. Cause it is a little fun that way. And when you binge watch it, it's like, dude, bloop, 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 bloop. Sometimes you're just skipping it. It's because it gets really loud, really fast of how it's not, I mean, it's like, I'd say 75% good. And then the other 25% that's mixed throughout the whole season is just like, really? That's the pose that's the line you went with.
Yeah.
But they should have won whatever awards they could have gotten for that freaking one-shot fight in the first episode where it's 5 minutes long.
Oh, of Born Again season 1?
No, of Daredevil season 1. But Born Again is doing really well. But Daredevil season 1,
yeah,
where it's in the shipyards, and he starts fighting outside the containers, and then it goes inside of something, and the camera never cuts, so it's always spent. Yeah, it was so well done. I was like, this is gonna be an amazing show. It was an okay show.
Yeah,
but then they've done better with that with Disney now.
So yeah, like I do think though that I like the Netflix season 1 a little bit better than Born Again season 1, but I don't think there's going to be anything. I don't think there's going to be anything that can touch Born Again season 2.
Okay, yeah, see, I'm there
because of the pacing, and there's always something happening, always something big,
and the fights are more comic book top notch now. That was the best fight I can remember from all of the Netflix Daredevils was that first fight in season 1. But now it's like I usually will be playing something and we have a laptop between us and she's playing something. And when those fights, I'll be stopping. I'm watching the fights, and it's crazy what they're doing in season 2 right now.
You know what I know? One thing we all noticed, and I don't understand why shows are like this now. Like Born Again season 1 and season 2, F-bomb like every couple of minutes, every like depending on who's on screen, it might be every 30 seconds. And I'm like, what is this? And like the first season, the Netflix one, there might have been 1 or 2 F-bombs throughout the entire thing. And it just holds more weight then. And it's just like, it's for emphasis. But when you're doing it every 5 seconds, it's like people will argue that that's how people talk. And I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think people really talk like that. I'm sorry. I mean, I've been around people.
Well,
come on.
Okay, I will say
you're around.
It does, and I will say in general, when I was driving Lyft all the time, I was actually surprised. Now it's definitely younger generations, but I was definitely surprised how many people got into my vehicle on their phone talking to somebody. I'm a stranger, right? They just ordered a ride, and they're just pleasant as can be, but F this, F that, and I'm like, oh, okay, I talk that way to my friends, but not in public. And there's a segment there, but I'll say, my guess is because of going back to the bloat especially in the Netflix series, and why certain things have changed since Netflix series is Disney still controlled all of that. And Netflix wanted to do an 8-episode tight action run. And Disney said you had to have 13. And they were still doing which I always thought was done. Well, not always, but for a long time I thought it was done. Like separate nights and days, if you will. But Disney always had that. We're for kids. I'm like, no, Marvel is not. Half of Marvel is not for kids. Half of Marvel is for us adults, and it always has been. And so now with the success, my guess is with the success of Deadpool and Wolverine, or versus Wolverine, whatever it's called, and is their first official Disney rated R Marvel movie. And it did gangbusters. They're probably going, well, the streets are the gritty ones. We gotta. So I don't know. I'll tell you that when the Punisher talks, he's great.
But I want to talk about the Punisher series. Have you watched it?
Of course. Yeah. No. Okay. Let me caveat. I've watched this series, and now I'm trying to catch up on season 2 to see what they do. No. So that's what I was getting to. I wanted to watch Daredevil season 2 to see what they did with them to get to the special. So I have not watched the special yet because Punisher is one of my favorites. I was about to say he's my hero. He's not my hero. He's very broken, but I identify with that. So
Okay. I mean, so I will have a hot take right here about you just mentioned Deadpool.
yes,
That,
okay,
that movie is not very good.
yeah, whatever.
That movie.
I love it.
So I will say this: cameos, are great comedy, great,
Are you
but it just.
comparing Deadpool 3 to 1 and 2, or just the whole series? You're not into it.
Oh no, no, I really liked one, and I liked two a lot more than I
Okay,
thought
so
I would.
3 wasn't as good as you. Okay, no, I get that. I can
Three
follow what you're
was
saying.
just more about Wolverine cameoing and all the
Johnny
other
Storm
cameos
and
they
yeah,
had. Yeah, they had
yeah.
Gambit. That was really cool, and they had
It was not.
Elektra,
He's worse. Yeah,
and
they
they
and the
had
Blade.
Blade, and
Yeah,
I think it was
X-23.
more
Yeah,
about that. It was super entertaining, and I've heard that about the Mandalorian and Grogu
yeah.
movie. Like it's
Okay.
entertaining, but it's not a very good movie. You know what I'm saying? Like
Okay.
that's okay. That's
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, I
That's
got you.
fine. And I'm interested to hear what you say about the Punisher special.
Okay.
But that's all I'll say. I don't
Okay.
want to. I don't want to like ruin your experience. But I like John Berthnall. I think that's how you say his name.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's a good choice for Punisher. I think it's pretty decent. But I don't know if you've ever watched the series The Bear.
No.
Oh, dude, you have to watch that.
Okay.
You have, and they just so that's 3 seasons in, and they just released a special that was a secret drop of just an episode called Gary about John Berthnall's character.
I
He's a
know he's
guy.
in it.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
but he's every time you see him, it's in the past because he committed suicide, and
Okay.
that's what kind of like leads his brother into this, tailspin of a life. It's listed as a comedy show, but I would say at best it's dark comedy, and it's very intense. Like very. There's one episode I think they say the F word 250 times.
Holy cow.
I mean, it's like, dude, you're watching, you're like, what is going on? Because I don't know if you've ever worked in the kitchen, like as a chef or anything, or
No, I've washed some dishes. That's about as close as being in the kitchen chefing has been.
kitchens are a nightmare. No pun intended.
That's my understanding. Like, of course, I've watched the Not Such a Competition Hell's Kitchen, and I know I understand that's more of a reality type show, and I've watched a few documentaries. I watched the Bourdain movie, not the yeah, the Bourdain movie.
Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah, I thought it was based off of him. I'm trying to remember what the heck it's called. Anyway, I've watched a few things that are supposed to be about chefs from a chef perspective. And yeah, no, it's not the life for me. I mean, I could talk like that, but I don't want to move at that speed in those hours. That is
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
So yeah, we'll check that out for sure. Did you watch Walking Dead?
Dude, man, I loved Walking Dead till the end of season 6, and then that first episode of season 7. I think that's where spoiler if anyone it was already spoiled in the comics, but where he killed Glenn. I think
Hmm.
that's the first episode of season 7, and then it just took a nosedive off a cliff
Yeah.
in a car full of explosives. I mean, and they just ruined it.
Was that because I don't remember the seasons, but it's because I read the comics and all the times blur for me. Was that before or after the prison?
That was after the prison. So right when Negan showed up for the first time on the show.
Okay, so I was out
Which,
before that.
oh, okay. Yeah. See, I wanted, and I should have been too, but I wanted to see what they did with Negan on screen because that was as a non-comic book reader of
Hmm.
Walking Dead, that
Hmm.
was the part that was ruined for me easily online because everyone was like, Negan, Negan this, and you saw what was going to
Yeah.
happen. And then they baited and switched it.
Well, and
Like,
they did a lot of that in the show, which I didn't care for, but
well, when Abraham dies in the comic, he gets hit with an arrow through the
hmm.
eye. And in the show, there's this other woman, Denise, who gets killed with that same arrow instead. And then Abraham dies while they're all in line in front of Negan.
Hmm.
And that's not supposed to happen. It's supposed to be Glenn. And then they eventually kill Glenn. And you're like,
Yeah.
what the heck? But probably when Herschel was in it, Like Herschel was like my favorite character.
Herschel was
And
good.
when he got his head chopped off, I remember being in bed. Rachel's asleep next to me. It's like 3 in the
Oh
morning.
no.
I'm binging the shit, and I rose up out of bed and I'm like, "Unleash hell!" And she's like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, "They killed Herschel. They cut his head off. Rick made such good points. Why did he do this? Kill the governor!" Like I was.
And she punches you in the throat, and you go back to
I think
sleep.
she just went back to
Yeah,
sleep. No, she
yeah.
in the middle of the night. I've learned with Rachel, like if she's sleeping and she wakes up, just kind of like let her go back to sleep. Like she's just different in the middle of the night. We had a understanding when we had kids and we were up in the middle of the night. Nothing that was said was like, left for the next day. It was like,
So you're saying her real personality comes out because there's no rested filter?
oh, that's not her real. No, her real personality is not that. It's like a demon like takes over. Wait, can she hear me? It's like a demon takes over, and she's like, "Whoa!" Like
I'm not saying she's standing behind you, but there's some shadow work going on there. Oh, dude. Okay, speaking of shadows, I think I texted you the other night to check out Devil May Cry, and we'll talk about that. But it was the first time I turned it on, and I'm sitting here playing the game, and I have it to the side, and it's Devil May Cry. There's demons and devils in it, and so it starts off instantly just energy, and somebody's running and all this stuff. And I'm on top of the corner, and I see shadows come across, like demon shadows across the screen. About that time, the something happened in the world, and the house power flickered just enough to time it with the shadow that they would darken back up. And like, okay, I've seen enough anime that I think I turned on the wrong thing. I'm summoning spirits. What is going? I sat for a minute to see if the power would do it again. I was like, that was the worst timing ever of the power going up. Yeah, and of course the computer never stopped. It didn't flicker enough to even interrupt the Wi-Fi. It just the lights went boop boop, and timing with the shadow. I was like, okay, it's time to watch some salty praise hymns because I got too much demon going on.
wow.
You know that you got it.
Oh, I
You
do
got
get
it.
that reference. Salty the hymnal. Oh my gosh. Holy freaking crap. That's crazy. That's
Oh,
crazy.
okay. We haven't talked about some of this. Let me see. You know the name Amy Grant?
Well, yeah.
Michael
Sandy
W.
Patty.
Smith. Yes, Sandy Patty, Michael W. Smith.
Okay, here's one. Did you there used to be this like online you could purchase movies for kids. It was called Focus on the Family.
Yep.
Do you remember a movie? Oh my God. If you remember
Before it was
this.
online, they actually had reels that they'd send out to churches, and you'd watch the movie on a projector.
Okay, well, this was a VHS, but
I mean, I was a kid. But no, seriously, the church had a reel to reel, and they would get a Focus on the Family big case, and they would do the movie, and we'd watch it. It was funny because that's probably got me into tech.
You got to be honest with me.
Okay.
Don't just say yes. Do you remember a movie called The Buttercream Gang?
Don Knotts, right?
No,
Don,
no.
not Don Knotts.
No,
Okay.
Buttercream Gang.
The title's familiar.
I think I know what you're talking about. I'm
thinking Apple something gang.
Yeah, so Buttercream Gang was like
Okay.
a hokey ass Christian movie about these kids that like hung out. They're all like super white bread. Like
Okay, no. Yeah.
Middle America. But one
So
of the
your
friends-
family.
No. You gotta watch this movie. No.
No, that's too much.
So if that is our family, then I need to use a different adjective because that's the word. I guess we're white.
No, I don't know. I just
But one of the dudes goes to like New York to live with his grandma, and he comes back and he's like the bad kid, and they
wow,
save him.
If I saw it, I blocked it out for sure. No,
Dude, no, we had it, and then there was the Buttercream Gang too. Like, who thought that was a good idea to say? Let's call it the Buttercream Gang.
Yeah.
What the?
Yeah.
Christians are wild, bro. Christians are like, it's Christian though.
I'm convinced almost every Christian production has at least one person that's like some of the 90s Disney artists where they were rebelling against the message or whatever. They're hiding things because there's almost always a line written or a sign put up that the worldly people go, what are you doing? What is that? And then the people who film and everything, they're like, oh, that's a fun saying. My Bible is a wop. I don't know. Yeah,
Nope,
it's
nope. Yeah,
messy.
no, I get it.
Yeah.
That was my thing being a creative director at several churches throughout my career. I always would point that stuff out to people. And my goal was always to make art that wasn't corny. And I'll have to show you some of the stuff we did
Yeah.
that was like, oh, well, that's way the other way. Like we did this series of uh, ads for this series called Killing God. And I just took these items like a
Okay.
house. Okay. I painted the house completely white, put it on a white background, and made the house bleed. Like you're
Okay.
killing this idol of, and I
Yeah.
did it with like several. It was killer, and it was for like
And they
a young
hated it.
adult. No, they loved it. Young
Okay, cool.
adult group,
Good,
but like
good.
the main pastor was like, I don't know about that, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, what are you talking about then? You said you're talking about killing these idols in your life. Let's be real here.
Yeah, but we need to picture an old stone thing with a clean cut kid and Abraham's like that's not how that really worked.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so the reason I bring it up, so when I grew up in the church, my dad's a preacher, all that jazz. One of the first jobs he got was a church called First Baptist Church Camilla, and it's this hole in the wall city. Like it was a tiny city in between Albany, which some people have heard of, and Tallahassee, basically
Okay.
near the Florida line. And for whatever reason, and they were the biggest church in town, as a First Baptist tries to be. And this is in the '80s. Keep in mind. Um, and for whatever reason, we were on some kind of Christian music circuit, maybe because we had the money that I
Yeah.
have literally hung out with and ate lunches with as a kid, Amy Grant and Michael Card and all these up and comers. The only people I didn't
Oh,
get to meet
Michael
was,
Card, dude, that's
yeah,
so niche.
yeah, I know, right?
Dang.
Yeah, and Michael W. Smith was so cool. He's the first person I saw do multiple keyboards because he went back and forth, and they're literally in our whatever we call it, Family Life Center, gymnasium, whatever. But it's a gymnasium with a stage. And later, of course, they become these huge stars, and some crossover and even become mainstream stars. And I'm just going, I saw you play on the stage in my gymnasium. And as a kid, I was like, I play basketball here. I mean, that's cool music and all, but so yeah, because of my dad being the youth pastor, I got to always go to the lunches with them. Never got to meet Carmen or Sandy Patty, but that was
Carmen, dude.
yeah.
Carmen was my jam. Like I had all of his
Back in the
albums.
day, yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so good. And I mean, the great thing about him was his concerts were free too. And we had no money, so like anytime he
Yeah.
would come to town, we were there. So you remember the Power Team, right?
Yeah, they I got to meet them too. Yeah. Or one
John
version of them.
Jacobs and
Yeah.
the Power Team. Help him!
Yeah. Taking the cast iron skillet
Yeah.
and after screaming for like 2 minutes, she's like, I'm tired of screaming. Because it takes a minute. I mean, he does it, but it takes a minute to bend in the cast iron skillet and a phone book
Yeah.
ripped in half. And he's
And the
like,
hot
Jesus
water
can help
bottles.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
the
yeah.
hot water bottles that they blow all the way up.
Now that one I don't. I mean, I guess you just have to train a long time for that. For the rest of it, it's like Jesus will empower you. It's like the steroids empowered you guys. I'm sorry, steroids absolutely empowered those guys.
Oh man, I remember I worked at this place, and there a salesman started there, and he looked kind of like maybe back in the day he was in like an '80s metal band, and he was actually in an unsuccessful
Okay.
'80s hair metal band called Hans Naughty. And he brought in records, he brought in CDs and showed everyone at work. And I was like, dang. And I'm like, I really only like Christian music. He's like, oh, you've heard of Stryper? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, I used to do cocaine with those guys. And I was like,
Yep.
oh, okay. I don't think so. They're Christians. He's like, I'm pretty sure we did cocaine together. And I was like, as I was like a 20 something,
Right.
and I was like, oh my God.
I was
Like my whole world's just shattered.
Yeah. I'm today's years old to realize that the Christian business is not Christianity.
Well, listen, I figured this out the other day because I heard Jack Osborne talk about like, I don't know if you saw this thing where he was approached by TMZ and they were talking about something and somebody's like, what are your politics? He's like, I'm not gonna tell you. He's like, I think celebrities should just shut the fuck up and be entertainers. And the guy's like, well, don't you want to use your platform and your influence to like? He's like, well, then become a politician.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the same thing with Christians. Don't use your celebrity and your entertaining to try to make people Christians and make Christian art and Christian music. Like, if you want to do that and use your influence, become a pastor or something. Like, go work in the church. But like, I think real change and real like stuff happens in a relationship. It can't happen just like, hey, you're bad, this, and this. Like, it's
Yeah.
just like with politicians, though, man. And Christian music, dude, we know all the people we're talking about right now, most of them sucked. Like, they're not, it's not very good. It's
Yeah.
always,
I hate Christian music for the most part.
dude, it's always
There,
bad.
it's missing something. It's a weakness. There, like the energy I feel on it is always, I guess, versus metal, right? Metal, no matter how good or bad the metal is, if the music is right, it feels powerful,
Yeah.
right? And then one of the biggest ones I heard that it irritated me so bad was some Christian artist in the 2010s, I want to say,
Hmm.
got the rights to cover I Believe by Blessed Union of Souls. And
Okay.
that song is very much about humanity. And I believe in the power of love and connection. And of course, understand when this guy was trying to change it to be, I believe in the power of Christ, whatever.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the changing the words that messed it up. It's just the way he sang it. It was like, it feels like choir. And most choirs are just, I'm a singer, but I'm not that kind of singer. I can sing in a choir, but I've got no musical charisma, I guess, for lack of better words. And so yeah,
I think
Christian
all of
music
it,
is like, eh.
I think Christian music, Christian art, Christian comedy, Christianity for people is usually all performative. So there's so
Hmm.
many like extra biblical rules they put around it. And when you put those restrictions on your art, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be people are gonna be able to sniff that out really quick.
Yeah,
So
I
I
like.
saw
Yeah, and
Tim.
there's so
Do
much
you know
of
Tim
like,
Hawkins? Do you know Tim Hawkins, the comedian?
is that a comedian?
Yeah, so he's a Christian
Yeah.
comedian, and I went against my better judgment and saw him at a church not too long ago. He was epically good for a Christian comedian, but he has a part during his set where he talks about how he hates calling himself that because
Mm,
it's just going to cheapen it. And I'm like, then stop doing it. And
doing that. Yeah.
also stop trying to get me to donate to poor kids across the country in the middle of it because
Oh,
this feels very not genuine.
yeah.
Like it was really rough. He had some pastor come with him and I'm like, this is so cringe.
Yeah. Yeah. I there's a lot of things. So it sounds like again, you and I are on similar pages of there's
Oh, dude, I
faith.
could talk about this all
Yeah.
day.
There's faith and there's religion. And man, I hate religion. I hate it with a passion. And I've always said religion is man-made. Faith is what you can find. And yeah, for the most part, my public persona, I've used the word universe. Because I do hate, sometimes I even hate saying God because
Mm.
there are rightfully reasons that would shut people down. When I'm like, well, if I just say a greater power or universe is like, I do believe in something bigger than me, but that really is a much deeper conversation. Because if you go, well, do you believe in God? Well, okay, I need you to define God. I need you to define, are you talking about Daredevil season one or are you talking about Daredevil Born Again season one? Because those are two different things, and
Mm.
yeah, that's, man, it's
I just don't understand people's need to, and this is what I don't get about people that like, and this is my personal opinion, that, all of a sudden someone that was born in 2012, so they're 14 now or 15, or let's say somebody who's 18 now, they understand more about Christianity all of a
mm,
sudden
yeah.
than 2,000 years of history and everything that came before that. And it's like, and I don't need everything to be, and I bet there is a good definition of God, but I don't have it.
Well, no, it doesn't have to be a singular. It's just like, what is yours, is all I'm saying. So I know where the conversation is going to be. Because if it's this person that you feel helpless and they have to do everything, no, I don't believe in that God. I mean, I can quote your own scripture. I don't get into scripture battles because I got tired of it. But it's like, being raised in a preacher's home, I had to do Bible drills and I had to do memorizations and I had to do reference papers and all my papers had to have something from the Bible in them. And it was much like that comedian that's so forced and so pushed in the middle
Yeah.
that it's just, I hated it. And I'll tell you, instead of getting deep, I'm gonna take it lighter. If you're supposed to be attracting people to Jesus, then why are we taking a graduation that's already 2.5 hours long and making it 4 hours because you want to do a sermon in the middle of a whole ass sermon? And that was my wife's graduation, and I was like, "Oh my God!" And if I fall asleep, then I'm in trouble. This and that. Why do you have a funeral where they're grieving, and you feel the need to have an altar call? That turns everybody. That's the opposite of what you're supposed to be doing, and I hate it so much.
Dude, I think that's because people, and this is going to sound really like, oh, you're the only one that gets it. Like, but I'm not saying that about myself. But we are not the ones that are going to, like you said, you're supposed to be like making people fall in love with Jesus or whatever. I can't do that.
Right.
And if a pastor thinks he can do that, like he's an idiot. It's the Holy Spirit that has to do the work. And I mean, not us. I can't convert someone. That's ridiculous. And also I'm a Calvinist too. I can't.
Oh, you believe it? You picked a kid. I got you. You don't like Jacksonists. You like Calvinists.
Right. That's why I named him Calvin. People
Mm-hmm.
always ask, is it because of Calvin and Hobbes? And I'm like, well, one step removed, because Calvin and Hobbes, Calvin was named after John Calvin. So I just don't like how people basically castrate God. They basically say, I get to choose if I'm a Christian, and I get to choose if I'm not. And I'm like, why would you choose to be a Christian? That's ridiculous.
It's the largest cult on the planet. I mean, definitely. I see your face.
Wow.
We're talking about religion. If you think about it, what's the definition of a cult? People who blindly follow, and they have a very narrow mind of the world.
Blindly and narrow-minded? You think I'm blindly and narrow-minded?
I didn't say you.
Okay.
Are you saying you're
Well, that's the
religiously
thing.
Christian? Because so far you've taught the way I've taught today.
Well, but here's the thing. Every church is different. Every church. I don't care if it's like 20 churches that are the same denomination. Every church is different. I'm not just going to go because it's the same denomination that I am or whatever. Every pastor's different. Every person's
Sure.
different. So I'm not going to be one of these a-holes who's going to be like, I had a bad time at this church, so that's not Jesus over there. And I'm like, of course it's not. It's a person. It's a human being.
Yeah.
And they screwed you over. But why would you then give up your faith? I don't understand.
And that's where people conflate. I love to relate it to medicine, okay? Because I understand all the differences. A lot of people, when I say it this way, they get it. It's like, hey, when we start talking, why is medicine in America is so broken? It's like, well, let's talk about that. Are we talking about the medicine that is the humanity, the things that we help each other with and do? Or are we talking about the paying for the medicine? Because they're literally two different conversations. Is that's religion versus faith? Is faith is humanity based. It is, like you say, it's individuals. That maybe that pastor didn't handle things the way you like. My wife, she grew up in this church that was sometimes accused of being a cult, which it wasn't. And ultimately, I came from a very small church background. This church was a mega church by that point, and she took me to an immediately when I saw the huge buildings. I'm a small town country boy going, "This is wrong." But I actually liked the guy who spoke. He was the bishop, he's the leader, whatever. But the music, I nitpicked all the performative stuff because I was being an asshole partly, but partly because now I realize, like, well, I never liked performative in my life and didn't realize that then. And when the bishop came out, he's who I work with now, and I've worked with him for the last 10 years, putting his stuff online, and 10 or 12 years, something like that. He's not performative. And I was like, that's interesting. I didn't know how to reconcile that until later, and then it was cool. But it was, experiences are different, and she liked it all, and she was like, she didn't understand why I didn't like it, and as much as because I was being judgmental and angry person, because ultimately I could show you on the doll where the church touched me, but not literally. They just kicked us out of the house and touched my soul in their own way. Yeah,
you were a pastor's kid, so
I did the
I mean,
touching. Is that what you're saying?
I've met a lot of pastors' kids in my days, and they are
So let me ask you.
always kind of I don't know, like you're definitely different than a lot of the pastors' kids I've met, but like a lot of them, they'll be like, "Well, I just saw the hypocrisy firsthand," and I'm like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
yeah.
but whoa, hold on a second. Everyone's a hypocrite. Like you're holding someone to a standard that you're not willing to have yourself, and then you're like, they're a hypocrite, and it's like we can't be perfect. Who's
But and
perfect?
this is why I'm different. You defendist. You're apologist. You're an apologist. That's the word. You're not. I just try to be funny.
I'm not a good
Yeah.
one, but
You're not a
I
good
mean,
apologist. But in general,
no,
we so I think something you've learned and internalized, like I have, like why do I have to defend anybody else? I'm not okay. You got a problem over there. I'm not going to defend them and their thing. I am me. I don't care about that. Uh, but the specifics of things is that there is something I would never do. When and I was little, so it's very, I mean, I was 12 when it happened. So very impressionable, everything else. But ultimately, we talk about politics, right? In general, and
yeah,
then politics in the church, same thing. And the politics of the church in the short story is that my dad got in trouble. We talked about these music groups, like Petra was that era, Petra and Amy
yeah,
Grant and different things like that. And he was giving the kids those tapes, cassette tapes. It was the 80s. And I was, like I said, 12. So it was right at 89, 90, somewhere in there.
okay,
And so they're still doing cassette tapes and whatnot. And some parents were getting mad. Why are you giving my kid this music? And he's like, because it's Christian music that we literally got from the Christian bookstore or they even sent us stuff that, hey, would you play this for your youth group type of deal? He's a youth pastor.
yeah,
And so then it started some trouble. And ultimately, and I always still won't, to this day, won't know the whole story, even though he's told me some of it. But basically, they got rid of the music minister, the deacons, the politics behind the thing. They got rid of the pastor and got a new
yeah,
pastor. They got rid of and they tried to get rid of him behind closed doors, like forced resignation, right? With no
yeah,
scandals on anybody. And he just refused. And so they ultimately forced us out. And that means that we were living in a church house and we got put on the street and had to go live with a friend. And so that really just impacted me hard. It's like, I believed until that point, I believed what you were trying to tell me, which is God is love. And yet there's no love here. And that's what really scarred me. And then my parents not having faith, because I internalized, like, well, you always said God will take care of us. Why are we worrying about this? Because they were human and they really saw the
yeah,
waves. And there was longer stories, but that's my, and I like there was a point when people were like, yeah, as a pastor, oh, that makes sense. Like, well, maybe it does. So it's very angry and very, very wild, to a point, aggressive, if you will. But now,
yeah,
like, you're like, yeah, because I'm different because I paid attention to what made it different. But just like salespeople, I could tell when somebody's really going to be there to help me, or when
hmm
there's somebody that's just like, "Hey, buddy, we need to get you this, 2026 giant truck because you're a big guy." I'm like, pass. And that's where a lot of Christians are. They don't want to connect with people. In general, is my experience. They want to sell you something because somehow they
yeah.
get credit for that.
Then I can't believe I'm saying this. That I would say they're not a Christian. I mean,
I would
like
agree.
I would say
I
that
would
church
agree.
that did that to y'all, that's fucked up, and they're not a church. And
Yeah.
I never had anything that bad happen, but I had a ton of bad experiences to where I remember the day that that I asked to start working on Sundays at the job I was at so I could avoid going to
Mm,
church. And that's right up around
mm,
the time I met Rachel. And then I started to go to her church because that was just the thing you did because they were going to church. But then what her pastor was saying and what her dad was trying to teach me about the faith was just light and day different. And I'm like, that God makes a lot more sense.
yeah.
And oh, you're telling me I don't have to be perfect? You're telling me, oh, Jesus paid it all? That's way better because
Hmm.
Christianity is the only religion that points to someone else. Every other religion points inward. You have to attain, you have to attain, you have to attain. Christianity should point to Christ. I mean, and while I agree with your statement about religion, I also think church is important. But you, I mean, community, you can't do this alone, man. You just can't. I
That's
mean,
why I create podcasts with millions of
life
fans.
life can't be done alone. So I mean, but I'm talking about like in-person connection, like dinner, like
No, yeah, there's definitely
kind of it's supposed to
connection
be
with
it's supposed to
sure.
be a family. Having coffee with them, sit down at
Olive
the table,
Garden.
have coffee.
But we
No,
fought.
definitely not
See,
Olive
we
Garden. I love Olive Garden.
but when you're there, you get charged to be family. Uh,
That sounds more like a typical church. That's where
oh,
Olive Garden got it from.
that's where Olive Garden. Somebody was sitting in church going, oh, "I got it now."
Hey,
Yeah.
guess what? If I go to a church, dude, we
Hmm.
need to talk about this more offline. But if I go to a church and I hear from the stage about giving,
Yeah.
I won't come back.
Yeah.
I won't come back.
Yeah.
If I see like we just joined the church we're going to, one of the questions I asked when I was in the membership class, and they were like, hold on, we need to find that. I'm like,
See,
how much do you
membership class. Ugh.
I'm like, how much? Well, you got to know what they believe. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to a membership class. It's not so they can find out what I believe and let me in. It's so I can find out what they believe and I'm going to go there.
I see your point. I'm Groucho Marx. I don't want to be part of any club that would have me as a member type of thing. I don't want to be a part of a church that would be because I don't know. I remember it. I get it. You're
Anyways,
scouting. You're figuring it out.
that's semantics, and you're obviously I get why you are where you are. But
I
what
love
I'm
this
saying is,
conversation. This is awesome.
like I asked them, I was like, okay, how many people are on staff?
Okay.
I'm like, where does the money go? Where does out of each dollar, where does it go? Because I've worked in the church for a long time, and that's when I started to realize
Hmm.
even worse, dude. Like, because you were a pastor's kid, it's just shitty what happens with the money, and you're like, where it
Hmm.
goes. And I also asked all their musicians, I'm like, are they paid or volunteer? I'm like, because if they would have said all paid, I would have walked right out. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
but the organist and the music director, they're the same person. They get paid, and that's it. And I was like, I can deal with that. I can deal with that.
Sure. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I mean, honestly, my experience coming up under my father was always smaller churches, and it's like the first or the last, I can't remember, is one Sunday night each month was a business meeting. And so
yeah,
after the Sunday night service, they'd go run it a little short. So then they could say, here's the numbers and here's this or that or what. Maybe it wasn't every Sunday, but it was regular enough that
yeah.
it was accountability. Here's how much money came in. Here's how we spent it. And most of my dad's life, until his last church, part of his salary was, well, we own a house and you can live in the house. And so you get paid less, but we're offsetting bills. That's
A
cool.
parsonage.
Yeah.
Parsonage.
Look
Yeah,
at you
I know
knowing
that
some
word. I
words.
know that word.
There were no pear trees, but it was a parsonage.
But
But
dude, we
yeah.
didn't. So one experience I had that was horrible. I may have told you about this before, but at one point we're living in this house. We always rented because my parents were just totally bad with money, and they were so bad with money at this point. We had no heat, no hot
Mm,
water for like 6 months. And I remember my dad going to the church, and my parents. This was the crazy thing to me. Like no matter what, they would always pay their 10%.
yeah. Yeah.
And we went to the church. We were having this rough time, and we asked, "Hey, can we borrow some money to pay our gas bill?"
Nope.
Nope.
Now there are
We
definitely churches that would help. There are definitely ones out
dude,
there that do give,
we
but
go there.
yeah.
We're members. We
Yeah.
pay tithe in. So shouldn't we be able to get some of that back out? Like when we're having a rough time? Come on,
Yeah.
dude. Also, the church.
What kind of car did the preacher drive?
So he was a mechanic.
Okay.
And he never really had a nice car. He would get
Okay.
cars and like fix them up, and he was kind of like me. I hate cars. I hate cars. I just want to make sure it drives
Okay.
basically and
I
gets
gotcha.
there.
Yeah.
I'm not into them because they're such a money pit. That's why we
And
lease.
yeah, and the reason I even asked was in a lot of situations like that. I was like, no, we can't help people. The preacher has a nice house, a nice car, nice suits.
Oh,
Yeah.
bro, that was the pastor that I had in Austin, where the first big church I worked, a second big church I worked at. So he had a new BMW every 6 months. And the shitty thing about this dude was he had a son who was special needs.
Okay.
And he used that card I mean, I remember when he was having the art department scan together new plans for his house. Like he had the blueprints and he
Mm-hmm.
was having a scan so he could see it in one big picture. And I'm like,
Mm.
what the actual hell? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what are you talking about? I mean, that's, I will say everything I'm saying and I've said
Mm-hmm.
should make me be totally against this idea of church and God and everything, but I know in my heart that God is real, and I'm not going to let these shitty people take away this amazing thing. And that's what I feel when I hear people say it. It breaks my heart. It doesn't make me angry.
Sure.
It's like no, somebody fucked with you, and that is
Yeah.
bullshit, and I hate that. Talk to me because I've done that before. The last place I worked before I started to do uploads full time, I took a van trip with two people, and we drove in the van for 5 hours. The girl in the back was a Christian,
Sure.
and, and the guy was like really against it and questioning, and we talked the whole time. And the thing he said to me at the end was something I'll never forget, and I wear as a badge of honor. He's like, "You're like no Christian I've ever talked to," and I was like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
"That's
There
what
you
I
go.
want.
That's yeah.
That's
You
what you
know,
want."
yeah, that's almost the exact same. I mean, it's the same energy of the phrase that I got that landed for me was one of the first podcasts I did, and you said it. You've grown up in the church. You do see some good people. I remember some good stories. I remember some good people and some whatever. But there's a lot of hypocrisy and a lot of mess
Yes.
like this, and it's hidden. I think the biggest part was it was hidden, and that's what bothered me the most internally. So ultimately, I wanted to live my life out loud, and which share. And one of the first meetups I ever did, a comment I got afterwards from somebody was they were surprised because a lot of times, especially even in the early days of digital media, it was just like radio. So it's like a lot of times people put on a facade or a character, that's who you are on the show, and then afterwards you're different. And they said, "Man, you really are. What you see is what you get. Is you're the same all the time." And like
Yeah.
that's all I ever needed to hear. And now I'm going to go live that life for the rest of my life because it works and I'm happy.
And that's,
I think
I
you're the
mean,
same,
I think, well, yeah, I mean,
except
I've
when you
said
take
it
your
on,
hat off.
yeah, it's pretty bad now because I let my hair grow out on top and it's just shaved on the sides. But I told my wife, I'm like, it is really hard to be friends with anyone from a church
Yeah. Yeah.
because I don't feel like you're
Yeah.
getting, when they're around you, they know you go to their church, so they have to perform for you. And I
Hmm.
hate that. I hate that because I'm like, I don't know
Yeah.
if I'm ever getting the real person
Yeah. I
because
like
people,
when I
people
can
things like
argue with the preacher.
swearing, people things like swearing, it's like the worst thing in the world. I'm like, where are you getting this from?
Yeah. And how do we define it versus how they defined it in the biblical ages, right? It's like they literally did not have four-letter words in the biblical age that they used for swearing. So why if I say fuck right now, why is that now all of a sudden? And what they're not
And why do
understanding
we even
is,
consider that a swear word? Why do
yeah,
we, where did it come
exactly.
from? Like,
It's the energy. It's the cursing is what I think it comes from. And it's like, yeah, I could say I've heard you talk about with your kids, bless your heart.
yeah,
That's a thing in the South. That's a
yeah,
and it's like casting a spell. It's a negative energy on your life in those
yep,
words. And that's I think, and because it really, what's the phrase? Magic has a cost.
hmm
And I think words can be magic, and sometimes the cost is when we're cursing somebody, we're really just hurting our own soul, and that anger is what I'm holding on to. It's it took me a long time to deal with the anger of the church, and
yeah,
now I'm still dealing
yeah,
with some of the misinformation too. I still have a little bit of that in me, and so on and so forth. Because it goes back to what you're saying of being human and
mhm.
connection, and ultimately, I mean, what was it they asked Jesus? Is like give us the way to live. It's like, well, love your neighbor as yourself. And I've actually rephrased that. I was like, well, that was a bad word from Jesus because most of us don't love ourselves. We actually secretly hate ourselves, and that's why we hate our neighbors. So how about love your neighbor like you'd want somebody to love you? Jesus, let's rephrase that one. Um, but it's I get it. It's interesting, and I love having these kind of conversations because that's see your point. I think is, or at least what I'm hearing in my points are most people when you say performative, you can't have a real question of somebody. Oh, yeah, I think I've told you this story. But I'm gonna tell you the story. I think you'll like it. My mom, she's uber religious, and man, I was at a point in my life. She had told my wife, I think something along the lines of my mom believed that my wife ruined me. My wife unlocked me and let me live a free life. Um, and we had small children at the time, and I was just kind of this transitioning through healing and poking and aggravating people phase. And there was a Lexus commercial for Christmas at this time where there's a Lexus in the middle of two houses with a big red bow, and two guys come out from each house. And the commercial is supposed to be cutesy, like, oh, who's it for? It's a, winter to remember kind of Christmas to remember,
Yeah.
that's the whole thing. And I joked because I knew it was going to piss her off. I joked that I was like, the funny thing is that's a gay couple. They just didn't want to sell their homes and they got it for each other, and my mom lost her mind. She's like, I will never own a Lexus. I'm looking around at the house she's living in and the money that she has. I'm like, you can't afford a Lexus, number one. Number two, and she's like, because if they're pushing a gay agenda, I'm like, it's a dumb joke that obviously is not what they're pushing. So that took it further. It's like, how do you know? How do you know the person that made your light bulb is not gay? I mean, these are all corporations. And honestly, there's worse things than gay people in the world, like the corporations who are literally harming people to give you that light bulb, come on. And yeah, that's religion.
The church has not handled the whole LGBTQIA plus situation at all, because it's the church. What they do when they're taught a lot of times is they put sin on levels. And I'm like, obviously some things are worse than others and some things have worse earthly consequences. Like if you murder, you're going to jail. But like, I don't understand, if a person is going to be like, well, that person's gay, they're not going to fix my light bulb. It's like, what the hell? Why does that affect you? Like, I just
do they know how to wire a house? Because that's what I don't know. I don't care what you do after that.
Yeah, I mean, unless they're like flirting with me hardcore, I'm gonna be like, hey, hold on.
I'll say thank you all day long. Like, I know I'm a zaddy, but I'm taking it's good.
Yeah, I'm married, but chill out. I totally get it. Yeah, I totally get it. I've seen myself naked. You haven't seen me naked yet.
You put yet on the end of that sentence. I understand. I heard you.
Yeah. No, the reason I'm going to the church I'm going to now is because it feels like the pastor kind of sought us out because this church is kind of a little bit stuffy and he knows how we are. He knows the content we make and he enjoys it. Okay. And he even pointed out at him, like, a lot of people will say I'm not a Christian because of the content I make, because some of these like sus jokes and some of these that have like a double entendre. He's like, have you read the Bible? I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm trying to tell people. He's like, God has a sense of humor, and I'm like, I'm just telling you how Christians act, dude. I'm just telling you. First time we met for breakfast too, for breakfast he got an alcoholic breakfast drink. I think just to like prove to me he was.
I'm cool, dude. I'm cool. I'm not a narc. I'm cool.
I'm like, wait, are you getting this? That has alcohol in it. He's like, yeah, you're gonna get one too. I'm like, no. I think he felt bad. I was like, but he's really, really cool, and he really has a good outlook on arts and the culture from a pastor's perspective that I've ever heard. Probably one of the best that I've ever heard.
So are you going to be able to, when I don't know if this is that kind of church, but I've been to ones where they invite different people to do the thing before the offering, like give a little speech or whatever before the offering. And
touch each other with balls? Is that where they touch?
Yeah, no. So wrote a Bible verse with the word squirt. Is that you and the boys are going to do that live before the offering?
I'm not doing that one. Heck no.
Oh, all right. So I was giving you grief about your heck because the other day you did a story or something where you're promoting like one of the videos that you'd already done. And it took me a second, like, did he get a haircut? Because he looks fine. It looks good. Like, what is different? There's no hat on his head. I'm actually seeing his hair. You're a beautiful lesbian, Josh. It's a great haircut.
Yeah. People always say that, like, especially on TikTok Live, they're like, why is dude always wearing a hat? He must be super bald. And I'm like, why
I
do you
think it's
have
just
to
your
be
brand.
bald to wear a hat? I started doing it and I haven't stopped because I feel like the algorithm would like punish me for it if I took my hat off.
I mean, honestly, it is a bit of your brand now. It's the green with the yellow
I mean, dude, if
strap.
you shave this thing you have going on here, what do you call
Hmm.
that? What is that called? Do you have a name
Most
for it?
men call it, I don't know, goatee. I don't know.
A mane? You have like
Sure,
a mane right
I got
here.
a front
Like
mane.
if you shave that, like I feel like you know what I'm saying. Like that's part of your brand. You can't do
Yeah,
that,
yeah, no, yeah, yeah. Like the hair now is part of the brand. It's like I
dude.
don't
You
know
got the
what would happen if I
hair,
got a cut. Yeah,
this, and the types of shirts you wear.
yeah, the jersey. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's very much a
So,
brand. Yeah,
and I'm always wearing blue. I'm always wearing this hat, and I'm gonna keep my beard. I
yeah.
want to shave my beard, but I'm gonna keep it.
What
My
would
wife
what
likes it
would
too.
what would you? I mean, it looks good on you, but it's also all I've ever known for you. What would you do differently if you shaved your face? Would it be like clean?
Clean, yeah. I would look so much younger too. Like I don't feel
Yeah, I
like I
mean,
look
you have a baby
old,
face like I do. Yeah,
but if I shave this, Rachel's like, you just look like a kid.
yeah. Oh man, what
So
about shaving your head? Have you ever shaved your head bald?
not completely, dude. I'll have to find the picture, but I don't know if you remember when this haircut was popular, just having like just bangs and everything else shaved.
That was horrible. That was
Dude, I
always
had that. I
horrible.
had that, bro.
Oh
Like
my God.
I just did not have the cool factor or the right shaped head to pull off that haircut. It was bad.
I so there I the first time that I basically shaved my head, I was 16 or so, and I went to some haircut in a box, one of those commercial little they rent a chair there and they just do
Yeah.
generic cuts. And the girl messed up my hair. And so I was like, whatever, just shave it down and whatever. And my cousin happened to be visiting who was older, and he just lit me up. He's like, "Oh my God, why didn't you buy an ostrich egg?" And he was hilarious. All my family's laughing at me. I mean, I'm laughing too, but I was like a little bit, but it just was horrible. And then there was a point, were we dating? I thought my wife is sat at the table. It's not my daughter anymore.
I was gonna say that. What the?
I know. I showed Zoe earlier. I just realized, oh, I need to talk about the show how it changed positions. Sorry, I want to move on. But there was a picture of me and with a bald head because it's like the company I work for said you had to have short hair and a clean face. So I had no hair on my face and no hair on it was never a good look. Not ever. And even when I did long hair, but my long hair never did what I wanted it to. Are you familiar with Adam Curry from the mid 80s, the VJ?
No.
Okay, well, he had big, like his lion's mane, like it's beautiful big hair. And like that's what I
Yeah.
always wanted. And my hair was just not that. So
So
ultimately,
we're
this
more
is
and
it.
more we're the same person because I have pictures of myself with long hair and I wanted long hair. And one time I did it and I would have to put it wouldn't lay down. Like I would have to put product in it just to get it to lay down, and it would just if I would
Interesting.
let it go, it would just be
Like messy, not like a good poof,
dude,
but messy.
like no, not a good poof, just like a oh man, that guy needs a haircut kind of poof, not like he's
Yeah,
trying to have long
yeah.
hair. And I hated that because I love to headbang,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
it's so much better with hair. Like it's so much easier with hair. Like
And towards
I
the
feel like you
end,
put too much into your neck torquing when you're like because you don't have hair and you're like
yeah, you get that
yeah.
centrifugal force where it just kind of
Yeah.
moves you.
But
You
when the
can
hair
relax.
starts
Yeah.
moving, you're like, oh, I can do this easier. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, this is fun.
Yeah.
It
Uh,
sucks.
towards the end of the long hair era, and it ended because of a job, but um, I just didn't know what to do differently. And I always kept it pulled back. And my wife at one point was like, why do you even have long hair if all you're ever going to do is pull it back? Which is
Yep.
basically all she ever does anyway, too. So, but um, uh, you grow, you figure it out. And I ended up getting pissed off at this job because I needed a job. I was desperate for a job. They lied to me. I mean, this is a time when $10 an hour wouldn't really feed my family, but that's what they offered. And when I took the job on that and they didn't put it in writing, it's a grocery store, it's just a generic
Mm,
thing. And they
yeah.
said, yeah, 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 we'll give you 10. And I was like, and what about my hair? Can I just pull it back? And they said, no, no, you'll be fine. And I show up for the like orientation and like, no, you got to cut your hair and you're making $8 an hour. And I had to go across the parking lot. And so basically that's where this came from. I was like, you know what? F you. I'm going to make a small mohawk because within regulations, they didn't define, that
Yeah.
this you had to have it to it couldn't be on the blah blah. You had to cut it shorter. So I did the mohawk then. I was like, and then my hair. This is no product. It just stays that way. Now it looks
Just does
nicer if I
that.
put a little product, but yeah, it's like it was born to be this brand, and I started doing the this facial hair too. There's man. Somebody called it Amish metal. I used to have a look with the long hair and the goatee. So if you like how yours comes around your mouth, right? So I
Hmm.
had just the bottom parts of the sides that you have and just a strip in the middle. So two clean spots on either side. So it's just these three little strips of chin hair because I just wanted to be different. And it was
Uh,
different. Somebody's like, that's, you get this Amish metal look. I'm like, I don't think that's a compliment. But before we go, we started with the Devil's Hell Kitchen and went to a whole lot of Jesus stuff. I want to go back to the
that's true.
devil.
Unintentional.
Yeah. Devil May Cry. Okay.
Okay.
I need you to at least watch, and they're short. And apparently, I found it the other night they were considering an anime. I thought it was just an animation. It's very American. It's very, it has some anime influences, but I felt like it was an American thing. But apparently, it is considered an anime. Uh,
Okay.
but I just want your take. It was made in the 2010s, at least. I mean, it's not that old,
Okay.
and but it feels like it was made in the 90s with like the animation of the intro, the music. And if you even if you have to fast forward because you don't like it, which I don't know if you like it or not, but in the second episode, you get to a fight scene inside a building, and they I want you to hear that song and see if you like how it goes with the music because. I'll tell you, I enjoy Devil May Cry is a video game. Did you ever? Do you know what it is? I mean, have you ever played
Yeah,
it?
I've heard of it. I
Okay,
mean, I've seen the game. I've
sure.
heard of that show when I went. I think when you texted, I went and looked, and I was like, "Oh, I remember." I think I remember wanting to watch that because they were mentioned they used all kinds of modern music in it, and I thought that was an interesting way to do it.
Yeah, and I did not ahead of time had no idea about the music. So in the
Okay.
games, of course, they don't license music like that. And I remember I loved the mechanics at the time. I don't remember much about the story, but I loved how the first game played, and just never really kept up with it after that. And so this animation is very much like watching a game being played, but better shot because you're not having to be first person or third person. It flows. And I like, but when they kicked in the intro music, I was like, I'm sold. And so
Is it
I
Papa
need to
Roach?
know how. No, it's not Papa Roach,
Okay, okay.
but
Check it out.
it's in the era, and it's going to be divisive. Either you're going to judge me or you're going to be with me. But either way, I still like it. I don't care. But I'm very curious to where you land
I
on it.
probably won't judge you. I mean, is it new metal? Is it considered a new metal band?
I think so by technicality. I think
Because what I
so.
will say about new metal bands is like, if somebody tries to bag on them or hate on them, I'm like, if you were alive during that era, you were listening
Yeah.
to one of those bands.
Now,
Like,
definitely
don't try.
in the second episode, the fight song is I'm pretty sure is considered new metal.
Okay.
Yeah. And maybe it'll help me because I got man, I lived as you did. I lived through all that era, and I'm like, what's the difference between new metal and death metal? And can we just have music? Can we just have
Yeah.
metal? Can we? And so I just resisted on learning the titles until later in life when they solidified. Not all of them solidified, but some of them did. Okay, it's a subgenre, and I need to know it if I'm going to talk smartly. But
Dude, it's like emo
I'm not
now.
sure.
Everything's emo. And I'm
Yeah,
like, no. And you can go back and look at actual emo bands. Those were emo. That was the type of music. And now it's like everything that's from like the mid 2000s on is like, that's emo band. That's emo band. I'm like, no, it's not.
yeah.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. What? I know you know, but for artists, what does emo stand for?
Emotional.
Emotional. Isn't all music supposed to be emotional? Except Christian music. It's just weak. But isn't all music supposed to be emotional?
Dude, you're right. You're so right.
I mean,
Oh man, I could do a whole episode on why Christian music sucks.
maybe we will. Maybe we'll just do some breakdowns. I do. I want to get back to some caffeinations offline, but after we got today, I was like, I think as a caffeination, Jesus once said, "Love your neighbor as you love your coffee." Fill that cup up and drink it down, because the little brown pill is Viagra for your soul.
Now that's a good podcast.